Get your ears wrapped around the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast. All the scoop you need to know, from college basketball to the NBA and even March Madness. News of your rising stars, topics on and off the hardwood. This is the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast.
All right, guys, welcome to the GSMC Basketball Podcast. I'm your host on Mondays and Thursdays, Casey Foreman. A packed show for you today. Thanks for tuning in. And this episode and this podcast is brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. Like I said, a packed show. Thanks for tuning in. The Lakers, okay, finally we have our NBA champion. This is the longest NBA season in history, but finally we have our champion. I want to start today's show by first saying congratulations to the Los Angeles Lakers for being this year's, like I said, 2019-2020 NBA champion. Also, I want to give my props to the Miami Heat, going through that Eastern Conference, the Eastern Conference champion this year, what they did, a true underdog effort, an inspiring effort. My major props go out to the Miami Heat and what they did this year. Like I said, a truly inspiring and surprising effort for sure. But like I said, a packed show. We finally have our NBA champions. It's so crazy to think that the Lakers have won, because there's so many different storylines or such that goes into it. LeBron gets his fourth championship, his fourth title. Anthony Davis gets his first. Frank Vogel, the coach, he gets his first. Rondo gets his second. JaVale McGee gets his third ring. But then Dwight Howard gets his first. Kuzma, Caruso, the young guys, they get their first ring in their first finals appearance, their first postseason. So many factors that go into it. So overall, a very impressive effort from the Lakers. I want to start out with that today. Start out by talking about Game 6 overall, the Lakers being this year's champions, the champions this year. Then I want to move on to the Finals MVP, which went to LeBron James. I want to break down that award going to him. Was it the correct decision? Was he the correct winner of that, or I want to break that down. Him or Anthony Davis both made their case for the award, but like I said, LeBron James comes down with it. And then I kind of want to backtrack a little bit, discuss for the finals Game 5, specifically the end of Game 5, LeBron's late game decision to pass the ball out, to kick it out to Danny Green for the wide open three-pointer. Break down that move. Was it the correct play? Talk about Game 5, which again the Miami Heat came back and won, forcing a Game 6. And then at the very end of the podcast, at the very end of the show today, I want to talk about Jimmy Butler in specific. After what he did, after his impressive postseason with the Miami Heat, in his first season with the Miami Heat, might I add. I believe his stock is rising in the NBA as far as all the players, the ranking players today, I should say. So I think his stock is rising, especially because of what he did in his first year now with the Miami Heat. So stick around until the very end of the show. Stick around for the entire podcast today. But like I said, let's start out with the NBA Finals Game 6. The Lakers are champs. The Lakers are back on top, I should say, winning their 17th title. The finals have concluded. The Lakers are 2019-2020 champions. They beat the Miami Heat in 6 games, winning 4-2. Again, props to those Miami Heat, to the Heat, for making the finals in the first place when no one thought that was possible. And then props to them for pushing the Los Angeles Lakers to 6 games when, again, after going down 0-2, some people didn't even see it going, past 4 games. So props to them for pushing LA to 6. They did get, their heads blown off in Game 6, but again, props to them for getting that far, for pushing LA that far. And then in Game 6 in specific, like I said, I want to start out with that today in today's show, break down Game 6. Frankly, LA came to play from the jump. From jump, it seemed like, quite honestly, and it seemed like they led for basically the entire game, it seemed like. They hit Miami basically right in the mouth in the second quarter and ended up leading at halftime 64-36. And frankly, it seemed like Miami folded after a long postseason in the NBA bubble, away from their families. It's basketball 24/7. They're clearly the inferior team in the matchup. LeBron James and Anthony Davis are matched up on the other side of you, on the other team. Clearly, you guys are going to be the underdog coming out of that Eastern Conference. No one expected you to even get there in the first place, let alone win. So, yes, you're the inferior team coming in. So you can't really blame them for what it seemed like folding in Game 6 after being down. But again, after being down 64-36 in a closeout game, in the NBA, again, in the whole bubble situation where people are don't know when to pack their bags or packing their bags, every game night, people are seemingly talking about packing their bags here in the NBA Finals. Since the Lakers went up 3-1, people have been talking about packing their bags, going home, and looking forward to going home and such. And the Heat have been saying, hold on, we're trying to make this a series. We're trying to stay here, for as long as possible in that sense. So you can't necessarily blame them, though, for folding in Game 6 after going down 64-36. An impossible comeback. I believe that's the second largest deficit ever at halftime in an NBA Finals game. The only one bigger, I think they said during the broadcast, was the Celtics and Lakers, but the Lakers were on the other end of it, but the Lakers still ended up coming back and winning the series. Either way, second largest deficit or margin in NBA Finals history. At halftime, again, 64-36. So you can't blame Miami for kind of sending it in or mailing it in at half. There's not much you can do being down 30 points. Obviously you guys are doing your best effort. But LeBron James and the Lakers, Anthony Davis, seem to step it up defensively and offensively. They didn't seem to miss a beat, clicking on all cylinders. So that leads to a 64-36 half. And that leads to LeBron James and the Lakers winning their 17th title. LeBron getting his 4th title. LeBron, who, in Game 6 had 28, 14, and 10. His 11th triple-double in the NBA Finals, I might add. So his 11th NBA Finals in the NBA Finals, his 11th triple-double, I should say. His 4th NBA championship and his 4th Finals MVP. LeBron James has officially won. Anthony Davis in Game 6 had 19 and 15, closing out the series in a pretty good way, on a high note, I should say. After Games 1 and 2, it's clear that he took a step back, step down in the rest of the series. What he ever played, had 33-9 and 32-14. So yeah, there's not much room to go up after those performances. But in Game 6, he had 19 and 15, helping, in an effort to win his first NBA championship. The entire roster, though, seemed to be hitting. Danny Green, KCP, especially Rajon Rondo. I think he had, 19 points off of the bench, didn't miss more than 1 or 2 shots. I think it was, knocking down 3-pointers, hit a bunch of layups in that big run they had in the first quarter. So Rondo played amazing. He played fantastic even, and it was obvious that he was locked in the second he came off of that Laker bench, wanting to put his thumbprint on this game, wanting to win his second championship, and it was obvious. He came out to play. Playoff Rondo is not a narrative or a fairy tale. Playoff Rondo is legit, is a real thing. It happens more often than not. It happened again this year. Rondo, 19 or so points off of the bench, barely missed. Definitely had his way, his thumbprint on this game. But it honestly did seem like Los Angeles wanted it more. It seemed like, they felt like they should have won Game 5, quite honestly. Excuse me. It really seemed like, again, after that second quarter, right as that jump happened, they went up 10. They went up 20. And then right before half, they went on one more, it seemed like 9-0, 9-2 lead. It seemed like, and boom, they're up near 30 at halftime. Again, Los Angeles seemed to win it more, and I really think they felt like they should have won Game 5. I think they definitely should have won Game 5. I'm going to talk more about Game 5, I believe, in my third segment, so keep it tuned in. That is coming up later in the show. Again, they should have won Game 5. They know they should have won Game 5. Game 6 comes along, and Frank Vogel makes a lineup change. He starts Alex Caruso over Dwight Howard. Dwight, who's been starting, I think, since the Denver series for the most part. However, Game 6, he makes a change, starts the undrafted Alex Caruso. He starts his first start, in the NBA Finals. I think it was a great move. It was a more versatile lineup defensively. He can shift better. He was knocking down shots, and apparent to Dwight, who kind of clogs up the lane. The lane is more wide open. The lane is more open when Caruso is out there on the perimeter in comparison to Dwight Howard out there clogging up the paint. So I think overall, in the matchup to Miami, it was a good move, stretching the floor out a little bit, putting the players on the perimeter, letting LeBron get to the paint a little easier, AD get to the paint a little easier. So that definitely, I think, contributed to the 64-36 lead at halftime. It's a great move by Frank Vogel, starting Caruso over Dwight Howard. For the Miami Heat on their side of things, Goran Dragic officially made his way back into the lineup. He came off of the bench, kind of the role he's been playing for the most part all season. When the postseason came off, I think Kendrick Nunn might have been injured or so, or might have had a couple of bad stretch of games. He gets inserted back into the lineup and plays fantastic. Is a huge reason to their, huge factor of their success, to their success this season. But like I said, Goran is inserted back into the lineup, comes off of the bench, but overall, in my opinion, I think it was obvious that the injury was throwing him off, was holding him back a little bit. I think he only had 2 points off the bench in the first half. So he did not play up to his usual standard. It was apparent that torn plantar injury or whatever it is. Whatever it was definitely throwing him off. They said, it's to the worst extent possible. It can't get any worse. The only thing now is dealing with the physical pain. Apparently, it was an extreme pain. He decided to play through it. Props to him. Real Mamba mentality. They're playing through the injury no matter what on the biggest stage possible when everything matters most. You went out there and played, did your best effort for your team. But when all things considered, it might have been, more, better for Miami if he just sat out and you played the healthier Kendrick Nunn or I think he's actually their only backup point guard, to be fair. But either way, he hurt them more than helped them, but props to him for coming back and trying to make the effort, with that severe injury he had. Jimmy Butler also seemed somewhat gassed a little bit, again, kind of mailed it in a little bit. Not to say he gave up in Game 6, but, after the season they've been through Game 5, the effort he put in Game 5, if you saw him getting off of the podium after his post-game interview in Game 5, you could see how physically and mentally drained he was, putting everything into this series. So So we were kind of just waiting for him to somewhat break down physically. I want to say it happened in Game 6, but he only shot the ball 10 times, only made 5 shots, only had 12 points overall. Not to say he again didn't put his effort in, but I think he did everything he could, and there wasn't much left in the tank, especially after that amazing Game 5 win he had with 35-point triple-double. So he laid it all out on the floor in Game 5. Not much left in the tank for Game 6. Again, only 12 points for Jimmy Butler. Tyler Hero shot terribly from the floor, I think, in the first half, or in general, I remember them talking. He was 1 for 8 from the floor, so he played a terrible game overall. I think just overall, again, not much left in the tank after everything they have been through. Not much left in the tank for the rookie as well. His first NBA season. This is the most games he's ever played in a year. So I think he didn't have much left in the tank. Duncan Robinson disappeared after, again, a huge Game 5, similar to Jimmy Butler. I think he kind of left it all out there on the floor in Game 5. Not much left in the tank. And then for the Lakers, I think they simply took advantage of all of that. And then, on top of it, played some great defense. Not good defense, some great defense. Again, Jimmy Butler only 12 points. Hero shot terribly. Duncan Robinson shot terribly. Bam had a pretty good game. But overall, Dragic shot terribly. So their defense was the story of the game overall. What was the storyline of Game 6? LA steps up, plays great defense, and matches it with some pretty good offense. Players hit their open shots. LeBron shined as we hoped for him to do. And the Lakers clinched the title with the 106-93 victory. In my opinion, this was one of the hardest championships that has ever been won. Why? Neutral playing site. Everyone is in Orlando. No home court advantage. Living in a hotel for months without your family. Being quarantined, socially distancing. You're in one hotel for months. If you're the Los Angeles Lakers, you're in there for months. Okay, if you're the Pelicans, it's not that bad. You left right away. But if you're the Lakers and the Miami Heat, you were in there for months. The mental toughness that it takes to stay locked in, having basketball be on your mind 24/7. Was a true test. Some players, some teams were not up for the mental challenge. In specific, I think that the Clippers come to mind with the epic meltdown that they had, blowing the 3-1 lead to the Denver Nuggets, a clearly inferior team. But again, the neutral playing site, living in a hotel without your family for months, the whole social injustice that's going on in the country, the election that's going on. There's so many distractions. The coronavirus, the pandemic that's going on. People seem to be forgetting about that a little bit. So many things are going on for these players. So many things are on their mind. Yet they have to have basketball on their mind. Be locked in 24/7. They don't really have a break to escape from that. Being locked in their hotel for months with no family, no friends necessarily, just your teammates, your brothers, but still, that's got to be tough on the mind, on the psyche, on the body as well. Miami and LA, again, seem to thrive in that environment for the most part. Game 6 was a breakdown for the Miami Heat. LA, clearly showed they're the superior, more veteran team, fit to win this year's title. But, for the most part, both Miami and LA thrived in the bubble, both being very mentally tough teams. And the fact, let's backtrack real quick before I take a break. Let's backtrack real quick and talk about the odds from ESPN at the beginning of this season, because if you remember, I've talked about it on the podcast before. If you remember, ESPN said the Los Angeles Clippers, the Milwaukee Bucks, the Houston Rockets, the Denver Nuggets, the Utah Jazz even. They said all of those teams had better chances, the 76ers even. They said all of those teams had better chances at winning the title than the Los Angeles Lakers. Again, I'll run the list through one more time. Clippers, Bucks, Rockets, Nuggets, Jazz, 76ers all had better chances, according to ESPN, at the beginning of the season. Okay, so LA was seriously slept on all season. Okay, I say that one more time. They were seriously slept on all season. At the beginning of the year, we heard praise for Rob Pelinka, but as the year went on, we heard there's no shooting, no real depth, a lot of weird pieces, just 2 stars, and then no one after that. They're not deep enough to win a championship. We heard it all season long. They were not good enough. The Clippers were too deep, too good. They were going to wipe the floor with the Lakers. They had no chance. LeBron came to LA, to make movies and make endorsement deals, not win title. This is his mogul stage, his transition stage, right? He's not really focused on basketball right now. That's not the number one priority. Yet we see the Lakers winning their 17th title in LeBron's 17th season. Okay, 17th title in LeBron's 17th season. You know, he said as soon as he signed with the Lakers, he said he was going to put them back into contention. People said he couldn't win out west. People said that he went out there, he won out west. You know, like I said, as soon as he came to LA, he said he was going to put them back in contention. As soon as Kobe Bryant passed away, he said he was going to do it for him, for his legacy, for Kobe, his memory. I believed in LeBron. I believed in this Laker team since the start of the season, since the NBA season kicked off. The Lakers versus the Clippers. Okay, since the Lakers lost on opening night, I have been riding with them. My team has been hurt. I think the Warriors are still the best team in the entire league if healthy. I think they would win the bubble even this year if they were healthy. But still, at the beginning of the season this year, I put my chips on the Lakers with the 2 players in LeBron and AD. I put all my bet, all my money on them, and it paid off. Like I said, I believed in this team, and it paid off. But like LeBron said, I'm sorry. Let me restart for that. Like LeBron said, put some respect on my teammates, on Rob Pelinka, on Frank Vogel, on Anthony Davis, and put some respect on my name. That's what LeBron said. Props to LA for finishing the job. We heard them say when going up 2-0, 3-1, the job's not finished. LeBron, after going up big in game 1, getting mad at his teammates for celebrating too much, saying the job's not finished. Props to the Lakers for finishing the job. Mamba mentality. They did it for Kobe. LeBron did it. When he said he did, and when he said he could, as soon as he signed, they said he couldn't do it in both conferences. He did it. I want to talk more about that coming up next in my next segment. I want to discuss the Finals MVP award in specific, and if LeBron James was in fact deserving of that award. But with basketball ending, man, it's just the NFL and baseball now. But it's time to listen up, sports bettors. Okay, I want to tell you all about my favorite sportsbook, and you all know that's BetUS. Football, baseball, they are still going, they are back, and that means it's time to get down your bets while you can. I only endorse one sportsbook, and that is BetUS.com. Why, you ask? It's because BetUS is a pioneer in online betting with more than 25 years in the business. You guys need a sportsbook with integrity, longevity, and you need to know that you're going to get paid. You need a sportsbook that offers everything, including live betting, MMA, golf, horses, esports, entertainment of all kinds. They have crazy prop bets and futures. Nobody in the industry gives bigger bonuses than BetUS. Go to BetUS.com and fill out your information. It only takes a couple of minutes. And when you get to the How Did You Hear About Us box, type in GSMC, okay, type in GSMC and get up to 150% in bonuses on your first deposit. Nobody can beat that. I bet at BetUS, so should you. Join BetUS today and don't forget to type in GSMC to get up to 150% in bonuses on your first deposit. That's BetUS, America's sportsbook.
Are you looking for the very best NFL and college football podcast? Then check out the GSMC Football Podcast. Get the latest football news both on and off the field. From the NFL Draft to trades to the rumor mill to the NFL Combines, they got you covered. That's GSMCpodcast.com/football-podcast. Get updates on college rivalries, game day insights, and much, much more. It's football talk the way you want it. This show eats, sleeps, and breathes football. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Like I said before the break, let's go ahead and discuss and break down the Finals MVP award, which has officially gone to LeBron James after helping Los Angeles win their 17th title in his 17th season. LeBron has won his 4th Finals MVP. Again, this is his 4th time winning this award in his 17th year, getting LA their 17th title. The perfect story, book ending, to the fairy tale, right? So the perfect ending to the story here. He becomes the first player in NBA history. Not sure if you guys know this stat. Maybe you do. You definitely do if you've been listening here at GSMC to my podcast. But LeBron is now the first player in NBA history to win Finals MVP. Okay, a Finals MVP on 3 different teams. He's also won a championship on every team he's played on officially now in Cleveland, Miami, and now in Los Angeles. He's also won in both the Eastern and the Western Conference. Okay? So first player to ever win Finals MVP on 3 different teams. He wins in both the Eastern and Western Conference. He beats Kawhi Leonard, who, if he would have won this year with the Clippers, he would have been the first player in NBA history to win 3 Finals MVPs if he would have won, assuming he would have. If they didn't melt down and lose, and if they could have beaten the Lakers, which I predicted they didn't or couldn't have anyway. But again, Kawhi had the opportunity to do so, but LeBron somewhat or definitely does beat him to the punch. The Lakers beat the Miami Heat in 6 games for the first half of the series. Quite honestly, if you guys were paying attention to the first half of the series or if you saw the stat lines at all, you knew for the first half of the series it was a real debate for Finals MVP. Both LeBron and Anthony Davis had dominant showings, dominant performances in games 1 and 2. They both definitely had a case being made, again, for each of them after games 1 and 2. As I have said before, AD on GSMC, like I said before, AD definitely had the momentum after games 1 and 2. The momentum was completely on Anthony Davis's side. Again, 33-9 in game 1, I think 32-14 in game 2. So 2 dominant performances back to back. I definitely think the momentum was in his favor. He was the favorite to win the award at that time. But after inconsistent showings, inconsistent games in games 3 and 4, I think LeBron was clearly in the driver's seat for the award. For the Finals, he averaged, I think 29, 12, 8.5 assists on his, personal best, 59% in the Finals. So 59%, 29, 12, and 8 for the King. When Anthony Davis had some shaky performances, okay? So this is kind of when I knew he was going to win after, again, not looking at the stat lines. When Anthony Davis has, back-to-back consecutive shaky performances and LeBron plays well. So Anthony Davis is shaky, LeBron plays well. and the rest of the team doesn't necessarily play well, and the Lakers still have a chance to win, that, and then looking at LeBron's averages, then that makes it pretty clear, who is deserving of this award. LeBron was consistent the entire series. I can't look at one performance in particular and say that was a bad game for him. Maybe what I think he had like 25, 13, and 8 or something in a game. So maybe that's a bad performance. It's a great, one of the best games ever for any other player. But that's a bad performance for LeBron James. But either way, I can't really point out to a bad game for him where it's easy for AD to point out. You can't have more than one bad game or even a bad game in the finals to be a finals MVP overall. He had multiple of them, so it's hard to even put him in discussion, after watching games 3, 4, even 5, quite honestly. So it was clear who should win, in my opinion, but you want to give credit where credit is due, okay? You don't just want to say, or just prop up LeBron James since he won, and then just badmouth Anthony Davis, since he was the one, the Robin, the follow-up, the runner-up, that's it. So let's give credit, where credit is due again. AD had some great games, had very good games, again, if not great games, in games 1 and 2, some of the best finals appearances or finals debuts we've ever seen. I think the only people in comparison to finals debuts is I think it was Kareem and Shaq as far as first couple of games, points and rebounds. He's lining up with guys like Kareem and Shaq, other Laker legends. Perhaps maybe Anthony Davis will start solidifying himself as a Laker legend after winning now a championship with the Lakers. So he joins other Laker legends, Kareem and Shaq, for impressive finals debuts in games 1 and 2. He also has very key plays to going up 3-1 in game 4. He has the big three-pointer. I think it was over Bam Adebayo, and then he has the big block on Jimmy Butler, sealing the game. If it wasn't already, I think LA was already up 6 points when he hit the 3, but still, that was the ultimate dagger. Then he then goes down on the other side and blocks Jimmy Butler. So that was the ultimate dagger for the Miami Heat in Game 4, that is, going up 3-1, thus ending their chances of winning the series, making them win 3 games in a row. So Anthony Davis made the key plays in the key game of the series. Again, the big three-pointer, the big block in Game 4. So we want to remember that. We want to give him, again, credit where credit is due. But do you remember what LeBron James did in Game 5? Do you remember what he did in Game 5? They did lose, but LeBron has 40 points, 13 rebounds, and 7 assists, was attacking all night, put them in position to win the game. It was a 1-point game with, I think 10 or less seconds to go, 13 seconds to go. So LeBron put them in position to win the game, 40 points. Again, I'm going to discuss the play at the end of Game 4, or Game 5 it was, I'm sorry. I want to discuss the play at the end of Game 5 in my next segment, so stick around until then. That is coming up next. But like I said, Game 5, he drops 40, 13, and 7, is attacking one of his best playoff performances, and I think it's easy to say it's his best performance as a Laker. It was his best performance as a Laker in Game 5, but in his 17th season in this series, he looked like, again, like he has been looking like, for the past decade, I should say, but he's looking like the best player in the world on the biggest stage possible, quite honestly. And in the conversation, I want to prepare you all for this now. Rightfully so. The conversation probably should be starting, but again, this is a conversation that has been going consistently, I should say, since LeBron won, since he won his third championship, coming back 3-1, to Golden State in Cleveland. This has kind of been a conversation, but I'm going to give you guys a warning. The conversation will now start. It will now start after winning his 4th NBA championship, again now with the Los Angeles Lakers in both East and West Conference. winning his 4th championship, getting his 4th Finals MVP now, 4th Finals MVP, 4th championship. He now has a Finals MVP on 3 different teams, the first player to ever do so. So 4th championship, 4th Finals MVP, first player to get 3 Finals MVP on 3 different teams. He's won on every team he's been on. He's number 1 in playoff points, in total playoff points. He's number 1. He's number 1 in total playoff victories, total victories in the playoffs. He is number 1. He's number 3 all time. He's number 3 all time in points, in total points. He's only behind Kareem Carmelo in all-time points for a guy not known as a scorer or a shooter. He's won 4 regular season awards. He's a 16-time All-NBA selection, being on All-NBA teams. That's the most ever. So 16-time All-NBA selection, 4 regular season MVP, 3rd all-time in points, 1st in playoff victories, 1st in playoff points, 3 Finals MVP on 3 different teams, 4 Finals MVPs in total, 4 championships in total. 17th season now, and is still the best player in the league. So where does all of that put him on the all-time list? I'll run the 4th Finals MVP, 4th championship. I definitely miss some statistics there. I know his assists and rebounds, and he's first in steals, I think, in the postseason, second in 3-point shots. I think he's like second or third in assists. So he's up there, and a whole lot of other stats that I definitely miss. But after all of those, we know his accolades and achievements are stacking up at this point. But after all of that, after all that being said, where does that put them? Where does this put him on the all-time list? Who are you putting, over that, Who are you putting over that? Michael Jordan obviously is the front runner. Kareem, maybe Kobe. I'm just saying, who are you putting over that list? It's continuing to stack up. He's not done yet. Like the names I just said, Kareem, MJ, Kobe, their careers, rest in peace, Kobe Bryant, but their careers are over, okay? So LeBron is still adding to his resume. He still has Anthony Davis as a teammate, hopefully going forward next year. So are they the favorite next year in the Western Conference? That is a debate all of its own, a topic all of its own. Is he still the best player going forward? Are the Lakers still the title favorites next year? What does this mean for LeBron James' legacy all time? Who are you putting over him after all of these achievements that continue to stack up? Again, his 4th championship, 4th Finals MVPs, number 1 in playoff points, 1 in playoff victories, 3rd all-time in points, 4 regular season MVPs, and there's more, right? That's not even it. Again, there's many other people to compare with, with very impressive resumes. But I'm just saying, who are you guys going to put over that resume? Props to LeBron for getting his 4th Finals MVP, his first, his third, or on a third different team, I should say. Getting the Lakers their 17th title in his 17th season. Props to him and the Lakers for getting it done. My preseason pick, my midseason pick, my pre-bubble pick, my pre-postseason pick, my mid-postseason pick was true, was correct. I stuck with it. Pat myself on the back while I can. But it's crazy to think we have watched our last basketball game for months, for the foreseeable future. Who knows the next time we're going to see a high-level basketball game, a professional basketball game again. Hopefully everyone took that into consideration, and while we still had it, who knows the next time, hopefully maybe around January or so, next time we're going to see basketball. Props to the Lakers. The Orlando bubble has officially come to a close, okay? But I want to go ahead and take a quick break, okay? Coming back, I want to discuss the finals game 5, okay? So I kind of want to backtrack a little bit, discuss game 5, LeBron's, the final play, the ball's in LeBron's hands. I want to go through that play, break down if it was the correct play, talk about game 5. The Miami Heat obviously forced a game 6. I want to break that down, a little bit of a backtrack, coming up after the break. Don't go anywhere.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA, from the UFC to extreme cage fighting. They got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back, everybody. Like I said before the break, I want to go ahead and discuss the finals game 5, backtrack a little bit. If you haven't been listening, the Lakers, if you don't already know somehow, if you're living under a rock, the Lakers are this year's NBA champions. They've officially won the bubble title, as maybe we'll start to call it. But Miami in game 5, let's go ahead and backtrack and discuss the impressive effort that we saw from Miami in game 5. I have not had a chance to discuss that quite yet, but the Miami Heat refused to go home in game 5. We heard it we heard it all day ever since they went up 3-1. Honestly, ever since the series started. We heard going up to game 5, especially though, the Lakers were wearing their Mamba jerseys. They were undefeated, in their jerseys up until then. And the Lakers have won in 5 games, all of their prior series so far. They're up 3-1 going into game 5. But Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat went into Game 5, and they proved they play the best, quite honestly, when all odds are against them, are not in their favor. Leading the Heat to the 111-108 win. Jimmy Butler had 35 points, 12 rebounds, and 11 assists. And listen to this, on the defensive end, 5 steals for Jimmy Butler, doing it on both sides of the court. Again, 35, 12, 11, and 5 steals. An insane stat line for the NBA Finals. If you look at his stats all season, regular season, postseason, and NBA Finals, they just go up, and go up. So when the lights get brighter, when the stage is bigger, Jimmy Butler plays better. The stats prove that. He led the Miami Heat to the 111-108 victory in Game 5. Duncan Robinson was a huge part of the victory as well. 26 points in the victory. Hits the 3rd most threes in a final game, behind, I think, Ray Allen and Steph Curry, I think. So behind some 2 great shooters he is, in terms of hitting 3-point shots in an NBA Finals game. A very impressive performance for Duncan Robinson. 6 or 7 3-pointers I think he hit. I think it was 7, I believe. 7 3-pointers he hit. Jimmy Butler plays all but 49 seconds. He plays almost plays every minute of the game besides 49 seconds. Doesn't even sit out a full minute, however. But Los Angeles had a dominant performance from LeBron. That was perhaps the only thing keeping them in the game throughout the entire thing. Perhaps LeBron had his best performance as a Laker, scores 40 points, 13 rebounds, 7 assists, was attacking all game. But, the tremendous effort was basically wasted in the loss. Anthony Davis suffers the ankle injury, still plays 42 minutes, but was not the same. It was clear in that game he was not the same after that injury. He still scored 28 and 12, which is insane. You look when you're looking at the stat line, you're saying, man, he had a great game, but that 28 and 12 truly did not have that big an effect on the impact on a big effect on the game. When all things came down to it, he really did disappear late in the ball game. Couldn't even seem to run up and down the court because of that ankle injury. But besides KCP, who had 16 nights, it really was a rough night for Los Angeles and that supporting cast. But again, besides KCP and LeBron, really was a rough night. The game was decided, if you guys watched, you know, the game was decided within the final seconds of the game. And this seems to be kind of the biggest controversy right now. Like I said before the break, this is kind of one I want to, zone in on and discuss. This is kind of the topic being discussed right now. We'll see if it continues to be discussed after the Lakers win. I still want to touch on it. So I still want to weigh in on it. So Los Angeles was down 1 point. Los Angeles is down 1 point. They are inbounding the ball with a little bit over 10 seconds to go in the ball game. Okay, so LA is down 1 point. LeBron gets the inbound, dribbles a couple seconds, and immediately gets the screen from Danny Green and attacks the basket. He then gets double teamed. Jimmy Butler and Duncan Robinson are both on him. When he gets to the paint, he's met by Bam Adebayo. Or Jay Crowder, was it? Either way, there's 3 guys on him in the paint, 2 guys on him while he's driving to the basket. He then is rising up perhaps for a shot, for a layup, and sees a wide open Danny Green since his man switched or came with Jimmy for the double team. He sees a wide open Danny Green at the top of the key. He then passes, to the wide open Danny Green, and the shot hits the front rim. It's clearly short. Marcus Morris gets the rebound with about 5 or 6 seconds to go. So a quick recap, LA was down 1. LeBron drives to the basket, gets double, if not triple teamed, kicks it out to the wide open Danny Green, for a wide open 3-point shot at the top of the key. He misses. Marcus Morris comes up with the rebound with about 5 seconds left in the ball game. LeBron James on the right side of the 3-point arc seems he appeared to be basically wide open. Anthony Davis is getting double teamed down in the post. Markieff Morris makes a rushed decision to get Anthony Davis the ball. Just to kind of give you a quick idea of what his mindset is. It's an NBA Finals game. You have a chance to win the NBA Finals. You have the ball with 5 seconds left. Again, you have a chance to win the NBA Finals. Your teammates with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, who are both obviously going to want that game-winning shot, or one of them probably will after you get that second chance rebound at least. So going through Marcus Morris's mind is, I got the rebound. There's 5 seconds left. I got to get the ball to either Anthony Davis or LeBron James here. And he sees AD before he sees a wide open LeBron. He rushes the pass, sails the ball out of bounds, and it's Miami ball with a couple of seconds left on the clock. So ultimately, LeBron James dishes to the wide open man who misses. Marcus Morris gets the rebound with a chance to win, but sails the ball out of bounds. Not a lot of blame, I think, should go on Morris. He was covered, 5 seconds left, like I said. It's a finals game to win the series, all of that going on. So don't put the blame on Marcus Morris. Danny Green honestly should have hit the shot, but he missed. Okay, it's a make or miss league. He missed. Don't put death threats on the man like we've seen on social media and such. That is absolutely ridiculous and terrible, disgusting. Absolutely terrible. People have been doing that. If you're listening to this and you're one of those people, please stop. That is absolutely terrible. Death threats to a man who missed a 3-pointer in a basketball game. Absolutely terrible. It's a make or miss league. He missed. LeBron said, no big deal. We're not going to sweat it too much. He should have made it. He didn't. We're not going to dwell on it. We're going to move on. That's how everyone's opinion should have been on that matter. But again, since LeBron didn't take the final shot, since he passed it up, we now hear people saying, the narrative saying, LeBron, he's got to shoot that shot. After the dominant performance he had, he has got to shoot that shot. Michael Jordan, he would have made that shot. Michael Jordan would have shot that shot. He would have made it. He would have shot it at least. He might have missed it, but Michael Jordan, he would have made that shot. That's why LeBron is not MJ. No killer mentality. He ran away, blah, 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 blah. He runs away from the opportunity, blah, 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 blah. I've heard that. We're going to continue to hear that. Maybe we won't because they won the title now, but we heard that after they lost in Game 5. LeBron should have shot that. Jordan would have shot that. People were weighing in saying, yeah, I would have shot that ball for sure. But if people, knew their history or paid attention to all the context clues, I don't think they would be saying all those things because, in fact, Michael Jeffrey Jordan, as everyone, loves to throw his middle name in there, Michael Jordan did that exact same thing, not once in the NBA Finals, not once, but twice in the NBA Finals. Michael Jordan did that. Twice in the NBA Finals. Okay, first example, Game 6, 1993 Finals. Jordan drives to the basket. Ball gets kicked out to John Paxson. He makes the game-winning shot to win the series for the Bulls 4-2. So Jordan drives to the basket, drives into traffic, brings defenders with him. The ball gets kicked out to John Paxson, who makes the game-winning, the series-winning shot. Okay, so that's one shot. Willie had two. Okay, he was younger. The defense was zoned in on him. That was the best basketball play. Okay. And let's go to another example. Right, 1997 Finals, Game 6 again. 1997 Finals, Game 6. Jordan drives to the basket, gets double, if not triple teamed. Very similar to what we saw LeBron James getting in Game 5. Gets doubled, if not triple teamed. He passes it out to the wide open Steve Kerr for the shot to win the series. He knocks it down. They win 4-2. So we have actually seen Michael Jordan do that exact same thing, not once in the NBA Finals, but twice. Okay, not once, but twice. So that argument, Jordan would have shot it, despite being double-teamed, despite it being a bad shot. No, he wouldn't have. He would have made the right play, like the great basketball player he was. He would have made the right play. He did make the right play, and John Paxson made the shot. Steve Kerr made the shot. The only difference in LeBron's situation is Danny Green missed his shot. LeBron made the right play. He made the right play. But in that argument's defense, okay, I do think LeBron should have found a way to take that final shot. He was on fire with 40 points that night. He had 6 threes. He was 6 for 9 up until that point from the 3-point line. So I definitely think from that point of view, LeBron James needs to take that point. He had the hottest hand. He's your best player. In that sense, LeBron James needs to find a way. Frank Vogel needs to find a way to get LeBron James that final shot. The play needs to be called for LeBron James. I don't know what the play was called for, but Frank Vogel, LeBron, they both need to figure out a way to get LeBron that shot because of the night he was having. So perhaps, but instead of the screen from Danny Green, he goes right to the basket. Perhaps instead of that, he goes right, dribbles back behind his back and goes left, attempts maybe a fall away or a step back 3-point shot with a little bit of time left on the clock for you to get a rebound. I like LeBron's chances taking that shot, with prior my evidence being he was 6 for 9 from the 3-point line, 40 points on the night, was on fire, was the reason LA was in position to win the game. So I like LeBron's chances with an outside jumper in comparison to 3 people on him in the post, doing a fall-away layup, hoping he gets the call. I like him creating space for himself, or maybe one more person helping him create space on the perimeter, him having the hot hand in comparison to him driving, getting triple, double-teamed. So I think the play call was the issue there with what happened. LeBron definitely made the correct call But they were only down 1, so driving to the hoop definitely makes sense. LeBron James made the right call. Michael Jordan made the right play, made the exact same play in the NBA Finals. LeBron James did the exact same thing, and he made the correct play. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and take a quick break. When I come back, I want to discuss Jimmy Butler. His stock has officially is rising because of his impressive postseason and finals performances. Don't go anywhere. That is coming up after the break.
Check out the show built around the women of MMA. From the UFC to the extreme cage fighting, we got the fights covered.
Listen.
It's the Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast. The latest news of upcoming fights, discussions of previous matches. Join us as we talk to and about the biggest names in women's mixed martial arts, past, present, and future. When it's the women's fight game, you know where to listen to. The Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast.
All right, everybody, welcome back for the final segment of today's podcast. I want to go ahead and discuss Jimmy Butler, okay? After a postseason, a very impressive postseason from Jimmy Butler. I should say, what a postseason from Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat. Their fairy tale story, however, has come to an end, losing to the Los Angeles Lakers in the NBA Finals in 6 games, 4-2. A very impressive effort. You know, in his first season in Miami, they were the 5th seed in the East. They go ahead then and sweep the Indiana Pacers, who I thought would push them to at least 5 or 6 games. I clearly appreciated and didn't necessarily think Miami was as good as they were. I didn't take them as serious as I should have, I should say. I slept on them a little bit, but they go on and they sweep a very capable Pacer team. Then they go on and gentlemen sweep the back-to-back consecutive MVP in Giannis Antetokounmpo and the number 1 seed in the NBA in the Milwaukee Bucks. So they go ahead and gentlemen sweep, in dominant fashion, send Giannis and the Bucks home from the bubble. They then beat the deep and loaded Boston Celtics in 6 games, okay? They beat them in 6 games. They lose no more than 3 games when getting to the NBA Finals, okay? And then playing, LeBron James and Anthony Davis in the Lakers, they push that team to 6 games, winning 2 games, and Jimmy had some great individual performances in the NBA Finals and in the NBA, postseason in general. A couple in performances against the Milwaukee Bucks stand out. In specific, had a 40-point game in Game 1 and a 30-point game, I think it was in Game 4, against Milwaukee. So a 40-point game and a 30-point game against Milwaukee and Giannis Antetokounmpo, the MVP and the Defensive Player of the Year. He was consistent and clutch against Boston. I think Bam was the driving force against Boston, really taking advantage of the no height, the lack of height on Boston, for the Celtics. But either way, he was consistent and clutch against Boston. Had a 4, and then as far as the as far as the NBA Finals go, he had a 40-point, 11 rebound, 13 assist night to win an NBA Finals game. So a 40-point triple double to beat LeBron James and the Lakers. He outplayed LeBron in an NBA Finals game. He outscored, out rebounded, and out assist LeBron James for the first time ever that's happened in an NBA Finals game to LeBron. He also had a 35-point, 12-rebound, 11-assist game in Game 5 in a win for the Miami Heat. So 2 games that Miami wins, he leaves it all out there on the floor. He wills them to the victories with a 40-point triple-double and with a 35-point triple-double. So every time they win, it's by the will of Jimmy Butler. A huge finals performance. He averages 27 points. He won 2 games after they went down 0-2. Might I remind you, they go down 0-2, and some people were predicting a sweep. People were predicting this series to be over in just 4 games. Okay, after the Lakers went up 3-1, I changed my pick from 6 games to 5 games. At the beginning of this series, I predicted the Heat at full strength to win 6, but after the Lakers going up 3-1, I even switched my pick to 5 games. I switched, and Miami proved me wrong as well as everyone else. People thought it was going to be a sweep. And it was definitely one of the most mentally tough challenges, and Jimmy himself proved to be one of the most mentally tough players in all of basketball. His stock, in my opinion, has tremendously gone up. How many players now can you put over Jimmy Butler in today's NBA? After leading his team to an NBA Finals, getting 2 victories, a 40-point triple-double, a 30-point triple-double, 35-point triple-double, when it all matters most, how many players can you put ahead of Jimmy? Is he outside of the top 10? Maybe. Is he outside of the top 15? Hell no. There's no way that you can name 15 players better than Jimmy Butler. I don't even know if you can name 10 players better than Jimmy Butler with what we've seen from him in this year's postseason. Okay, so his stock has tremendously risen after leading his team to an NBA Finals in dominant fashion. Multiple triple-doubles in an NBA Finals, beat LA 2 times. What else? What more do we need to see from Jimmy Butler? In my opinion, his stock in today's league has gone up tremendously as far as the ranking in today's players go. The players in today's game go. How many players, like I say, can we put ahead of Jimmy Butler after this impressive all-time performance we saw from him in the Orlando bubble? How many players can we put ahead of him? His stock has gone up tremendously. But that's going to be it for the GSMC Basketball Podcast. Go let us know what you think on any platform you're listening on, a comment or review. Go check us out on all the social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter. Thank you, as always, for your continued support. Shout out to the Los Angeles Lakers, who are this year's NBA champions. Shout out to the Miami Heat, this year's runner-up, for getting that far, for pushing LA as far as they did. LeBron gets his 4th championship, 4th Finals MVP. Man, what does that mean for LeBron? I'll let you guys decide. That's it for me today here at GSMC. I'll see you guys on Thursday.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.